Hello, how are you doing? My name is Anna and welcome to my channel. Today you can watch a speed painting while I will be talking to you about stuff, and I hope I will entertain you a bit. A few weeks ago I went through my family photos and I have found one of my grandmother. In this photo she makes funny face. I instantly thought it would be challenging to paint this expression, so I decided to do it. While I was painting, I started thinking about my beloved Nana, and I have some stories about her I would like to share with you. My Nana sadly passed away almost a decade ago. I do miss her very much. Her name was Alina, but we called her Nana Ala. She was taking care of me a lot when I was little. I spent a lot of time in her flat when I was like 3 or 4 years old. In that time, my parents were building our house after the day job, so to take me away for a while was a big help for them. I loved my Nana's flat. It was big and on the ground floor with a big garden. I remember I was going to the garden through the window in the living room, because why not when you can and you're a child? Nana had a nice kitchen there, and next to the cooker was a small stool. Nana was sitting on it while she was peeling potatoes. I like to sit on it and play with my toys. Also, Nana was feeding me on this stool. I was a naughty child that did not want to eat, so sometimes Nana had to sit me there and feed me with soup or whatever she made that day for dinner. One time I was really out of place and Nana decided to almost force feed me. She sat me down on the little stool. My back was next to the cooker, where she had something still boiling on the hob. I did not want to eat, and I was moving my full body away from a spoon as much as possible. Because of that, my long hair caught fire. Fortunately, Nana noticed that straight away, and not much damage was done to me. It scared me so much. I remember this till today. So sorry for drama-loaded title. Actually, Nana did not set my hair on fire. It was me. I was a little shit who did not want to eat, and I did it to myself. My grandfather left family when my mom was just a teenager, and he passed away when I was 8. I never really met him. Nana kept the wedding photo anyway. They got married in 1950s and photo was in this old style. People on them don't look natural. Colors were flushed out because of sunlight exposure and eyes were the most bright points at photo. My brother, who is 7 years older than me, was telling me stories about grandfather is looking at me from this photo and he will visit me in my dreams. That scared me a lot. I could not sleep, especially because I was sleeping in a room with this photo on the wall. To help me sleep, Nana taught me how to pray. She was a very religious person and she was telling me about God, and she sang religious songs all the time. I'm not religious anymore, but when I was little, things she taught me helped me a lot with anxieties I had when I was a child, like monsters under the bed and things like that. Also, my Nana taught me all the folk songs that were so popular during Second World War. Most of them were about brave soldiers and young girls. They had to leave because duty called them. I loved them then, and I love them now. I'm going to sing them to my children too. I want those tunes to stay with next generations. I know, world changed a lot, but I think we still need this kind of hopeful songs in our lives. One time, Nana almost set something else on fire. A microwave. It was in mid-1990s. My dad got a job in Germany. He was coming back home for weekends once in 2 or 3 weeks. Once he brought a microwave. In that time it was a novelty. We just were digging our country out of a communism economy. To have something like a microwave was a massive thing. At the beginning, everybody was not sure how to use it. I remember I come back from primary school and I asked if I could have microwaved sandwich with ham and cheese. You know, with lovely melted cheese. Nana was not sure how to use this new device and set a sandwich on like 10 minutes on high setting. As you probably figured out, my lunch burned down, made a lot of smoke and almost damaged the device. It caused a lot of distress. Imagine you have a new shiny thing and it probably got broken because you don't know how to use it properly. Luckily, microwave was fine after a proper wash. Food smelled burnt for a while, but cheese was perfect. Funny thing, this machine is still working till this day. I've even taken it with me to the student dorm when I was in uni. Before I moved it to UK, I left it with my friends and they are still using it. It is amazing, isn't it? How you can clearly see that it was made before the trend of making cheap and easily breakable technology we have today. As I mentioned it before, I was a naughty child, very stubborn one. I got a bit better over time, but till I was like 10, I really was a little shit that caused trouble all the time. When I was 4, my Nana took me for a summer holiday to visit her brother that lives on the other side of the country. He has a lovely farm by the forest, surrounded by fields. It's one of my favorite places in the world. Peaceful and quiet. I do not remember exactly why I ran away to the fields one day. Probably I was forbidden from doing something, I was just throwing a tantrum. Anyway, for some reason, I left house and I went to the field. Not very far from home, but crops that were growing there were much taller than me. And even more, I decided to lie down on the ground. My poor Nana couldn't find me for 2 hours straight. My Nana taught me how to do stuff. She taught me how to cook. Probably you know, or at least you heard, about Polish dumplings stuffed with cottage cheese and potatoes. My Nana showed me how to make them. She was always very patient with me. She showed me how to make jam and pickles. She loved gardening. In her garden was always a lot of fruits and vegetables, and she was taking a good care of them. Most of the summer she spent in that garden. Because of that, she was always very tanned. During summer, her skin was totally black. I remember our last summer together. I was at uni that time. I tried to find a job for summer in a city I was studying, but I was not very successful. So I got back home. My parents went for a trip to Spain and I stayed at home with Nana. I am so grateful I had this opportunity. Now I'm so happy I did not find any job. Back then, I was frustrated that I had to spend whole summer at home where not much is going on. But I could spend that time with her. I never thought that will be the last time when I will be with her for a longer time. We're doing a lot of things together, like when I was a child, I asked her a lot of questions about my family. You know, adult questions this time. My Nana told me a story of her life. It was fantastic. I could hear about people who died before I was born. I could hear stories about people I know. She told me about my mom and her siblings growing up. She told me about my grandfather and their failed marriage. She told me about happy moments and also about those very, very sad ones. In my imagination, I could travel with her from her family home to the town she found her first job and met my grandfather. How her life looked like in 1950s and 1960s. How people were more united because mostly what they had were each other. I cried and laughed many times with her. Her stories were an amazing gift to me. I will always cherish this summer. I could not spend it better. I hope you like stories about my Nana Ala. I believe if we are able to become a story in others' life, we will never die and never be forgotten. I wish I would be remembered with so much love as my Nana, who always cared about me. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and maybe leave a comment. Visit my Instagram account where I mostly publish my art. If you like what I'm doing, you can tip me with a coffee at coffe.com. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!